Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Harvey Slater, Holistic Nutrition Coach. How's it going? So I'm here today with Dr. Julia Radwanski, who is a doctor of chiropractic. How's it going, Julia?
I'm doing well. How are you, Harvey?
I'm doing awesome. It's good to have you here today. How are you holding up with all this COVID craziness?
Doing well. Staying healthy, staying active. So how about you?
I'm doing good. I'm just taking advantage of the time to get some projects done and managing to keep myself really busy.
Good.
So I don't know. I see people complaining that they're bored right now, and I'm not sure.
I don't have that problem either.
I don't either. So I guess we should be grateful, right?
That is very true. Very true.
So I asked Julia to join me today because her clinic, Vital Head and Spine Institute, sent out this email, and Julia was doing this awesome webinar about how to practice healthy ergonomics while you're stuck at home, sitting around at your computer and stuff. And I thought that would just be really, really useful, valuable stuff to share with everybody today. So, but before we get into that, Julia, why don't you just tell me a little bit about your background and, what called you to becoming a chiropractor?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, let's see. I always was interested in the medical field. And so even as a kid, my first job, I was a optometrist assistant, and so I worked in an eye doctor's office since my first job in high school. But I also had chronic pain. So I had headaches, neck pain since I was 10 or 12 years old. And so I was kind of interested in the medical field. Nothing in particular struck my fancy. So I went for my degree in molecular biology, went through my bachelor's, and then I met a NUCA doctor. And that's this technique of about 250 doctors. And now I'm one of them, so that's the technique that we do. But he basically described to me the way that if the head and neck shift even a little bit, it actually causes strain on the way the brain signals to the body and creates chronic pain and chronic dysfunction. And then he told me you can measure it, you can x-ray, analyze it, adjust it, and correct it again and measure and see that it improved. And so I'm super analytical. So I was like, hey, that sounds perfect. And then after that, it changed my life. And so my headaches are gone. My neck pain is gone. So it just kind of fell into place.
Wow. I didn't know that about you, about your extensive clinical medical background. And that really makes a lot of sense because I noticed at the clinic, the way you present yourself is as if you've been doing this for years and years. Like if you're like yes. A seasoned clinician,
Yeah. And I'm a little bit older than I look, which is true.
Okay.
But absolutely, yes.
Cool. So what made you decide to join the Vital Head and Spine team? What is it about that clinic that sets them apart or makes them different from other chiropractic clinics?
Yeah, the first major thing is we do this specific technique, and it requires a very high level of technology. So we need to have a place that we actually have the access to that. But most importantly, it really is a place where we dive into what's the root cause of any problem that someone has. And we actually don't want to see every patient who walks through our doors, right? And so if someone's calling to find out if we can help them, my answer is always, I don't know, right? And I want to find out. And if we can, great, right? And Harvey, I think you know this about us. But if we can't, then that's why we have this wonderful group of interprofessional people where we can say, hey, you know what? This practitioner will be better suited for your needs. I don't want to see you if I can't help you. And we hold ourselves really to that level of excellence of saying, I really am going to put each person first, each patient first. And I don't want to see anyone that I can't help in. It's not fun for you and it's not fun for me either, right? So
yeah. And I love that people get a chance to hear that because, and I think that these are bygone days for the most part, but I think the chiropractic had a pretty hefty reputation for a while of being like this people mill kind of situation where it was just, grind them and crack them through and do the
every week for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
And once you start, you can't stop.
And in fact, I saw a chiropractor once, this is quite a few years ago, and she was so persistent on that first visit about setting me up on a wellness program, and I just felt like I was being sold, and it was really unfortunate, but I understand there are patient management systems and practice management systems, and they're designed to help the client or the patient, but they're also designed to help business, right?
Right.
So I think the real awesome thing is, actually figuring out what's going to work for both. And I love that when someone asks you, if you can help them, if you say, well, we don't know, let's find out first. And that's so great, because that's just so much more scientific than just trying to fit everyone into your box, right?
Right. And it's funny you say that, because my dad, when I first started in this specific field of NUCA, was like, isn't that a pretty terrible business plan? Your goal is to see people as little as possible and see them infrequently. How does that work for business? And I was like, well, when you help people, it actually helps, right? And so that's the goal for us is, hey, let's actually help. We don't need to keep people coming back.
Right. It's like I tell my clients when I'm recommending a follow-up program, I'm like, look, this is not designed to have you come back for the sake of you coming back. My goal is to have you reach your goals and feel awesome as quickly and efficiently as possible, and then go out and tell 3 or 4 friends about this experience.
Right. We have similar goals. I think that's why we get along.
Yeah. Like, I don't want you hanging around in my office forever unless you're really getting that value, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. So here we are in this COVID-19 unprecedented time. It's been a wild ride over the last 3 or 4 weeks for everybody. And, I think many wellness practitioners, doctors, and other health practitioners are really thinking outside the box and getting creative about ways to continue helping their clients feel better, cope with the stress, sort of, using your unique contribution and superpower to do something positive in the situation and stay relevant, right? So what is it that you guys are doing specifically to help your patients in the COVID-19 situation?
Yeah, well, here at Vital, we do 2 different things. So we look at the brain itself and see how the brain is firing. And then we look at how the brain signals are actually passing through this critical tunnel here and how that's controlling the rest of our body. And so there's kind of 2 different sides to what we're looking at. And so that first side is looking at more of any problems with sleep, anxiety, problems with focus. And that's pretty easy to do from remote training. And so you do have to come into the office once. We do an actual brain map to see how the brain signals are firing. Do you have any certain brain waves that are overfiring, underfiring? But once we have that map, we can set you up with a trainer who checks in with you remotely. It would be something like this type of call. They give you all the electronics and you train at home. And so that's super easy to just do right in this time frame. And then the other side of what we do with the chronic pain, which is where I specialize, is to actually look at, okay, let's do this e-consultation, right? It's not something we've usually done, but it's the way of medicine nowadays, and see where is the source of this pain. Once we have that e-consultation, then we can kind of dive in and figure out what your options are. And there's many, many different options, but it really all starts with that, hey, we need to talk, right? We need to figure it out. And we can do that face-to-face, even if we can't be face-to-face in the office.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've never done one of your brain trainings, but I've seen the rooms and they're pretty neat.
Yes, the rooms are neat. So once this is all over, you can also come train in the office as well.
Right. When I saw that you were offering it at home, I was like, well, brain training at home. I mean, I want to buy that because I'm just curious, right?
Especially like, hey, we have this extra time now. What are you doing, right?
Like,
why watch TV when you can
my brain to be like a super productive Albert Einstein kind of brain? Or
absolutely.
Awesome. All right, I want to go there. So, so our listeners and viewers are usually the people who follow me. They're really interested in developing practical, healthy habits, things that they can follow, simple, achievable things to just help them move forward and develop a healthier lifestyle so they can, achieve their goals. That's sort of the foundation of everything that I do in terms of my social media and my practice. So I understand that from this webinar that you recently did, that you have some awesome tips about maintaining healthy ergonomics while being stuck at home for long periods of time. So yes. I was hoping that you would actually share some of those valuable tidbits with us today.
Absolutely. And let me go ahead. I will just share my screen here so that way we can actually show you.
Love that.
Let's see. All right. Perfect. Oh, that's the end. We won't jump that far. Let's see. So I'll keep it short so that way it's stuff that you guys can remember, stuff that you can take home. But Harvey can link to a lot of this stuff on the show notes as well, so that way you'll have it. But big thing is, are you sitting like this at your computer, right? That's going to cause major problems. And so we'll look at just your overall setup. How much time you're spending at home is going to play a major role in kind of the pain you're having. Some stretches, some opening you can do to combat some of that, and then really just how to take care of your brain. They're all super quick, really easy to implement, almost free, and so I'll give you all of those. This is the biggest problem that I've seen and that I've talked to with most of the patients that I've talked to. And so overall, most computer monitors are just too low on your screen. And so if you look at this person and they're looking here at the top of the screen, most monitors are actually down here. And so your head's in this position where you're straining the muscles at the top of your neck, your suboccipital triangle, you're compressing all the musculature in the front of your neck. So go ahead and just check where the positioning is. Obviously, sitting up straight, keeping your arms nice and neutral, feet flat on the floor. It's not going to look perfect like this all day long, but it should be close to that, right? Even worse is a laptop, right? Because with a laptop, you have the keyboard here and the monitor there. And so what I recommend is just, this is the part that's not free, get a separate keyboard and mouse. You can get it on Amazon. A lot of those places nowadays you can order Best Buy for pickup, and they come right to your car. And then just stick your laptop on a stack of books or something like that. So that way that monitor is now finally at the right height, but the keyboard can still stay low. Biggest other risk is if you just elevate the laptop and then you start using it like this, now you're going to tighten through your shoulders there. And I mean, imagine doing that if you're working from home for even a half an hour, but let alone hours on end. I don't think that's comfortable for anyone, right?
Right.
Let's see. So last kind of positioning tidbit is we're spending a lot more hours both reading ideally, but on our phones, on tablets, on watching TV. So just make sure that you're keeping your head and neck in a fairly neutral position. My biggest rule of thumb is really, if it feels like you're straining your neck, you are, right? And so listen to your body. And so if you're looking down like this for a half an hour, if you're straining your neck all day, go ahead and just bring your elbows together. Now, it's not going to look perfect like this right in front of your face, but if you bring your elbows somewhat together instead of being all the way down, that's going to elevate this so that way you can actually look straight forward. Same thing if you're looking actually at this person reading and she's got her book elevated instead of having it down on your lap. That's really just going to be best ergonomically. So pay attention to the position of your head and neck, whether it's on your monitor, whether it's on your phone, whether it's reading a book. Same thing with watching TV. Make sure you're across from it instead of turned at some funny angle or propping your head in a funny position. Really just pay attention, right? And we often don't have ways to solve those problems. But if you feel your neck being strained, try and think about it of what would this look like to be in a more neutral position. So that is major, major, major tip number one. You will be in pain if you're in these crazy positions all day long. So I would absolutely focus on that. But number two gets us active for a little bit. So go ahead and sit up nice and tall for me here. This is one of my favorite positions. So Harvey, scooch to the forward part of your chair so that way you're nice and tall. Very good. We just wanted to see you closer. That's really all I wanted.
I'm going to set this up so that the screen can see me, yeah.
No, that's perfect. But then really, if you can lift through your chest here and bring your shoulders back, your arms facing forward, out and down, and that will start to open all of your pecs. It opens up your chest, starts to open up through the musculature in your neck that we're tightening up as we're hunched on our computers, on our phones. And so this position really starts to open all the musculature that we're tightening up there. And so this is one of my favorite positions. If you take a break every half an hour that you're on your computer and start to switch into this position just for 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to feel significantly better than kind of this hunched position that we all naturally go to. The other favorite stretch that I have that's nice and simple if you're getting tension from here, from working from home, is a rotational stretch where you turn your head to the side and then you can tip your chin down and you can feel that starting to stretch along the side and back side of your neck. And then you can lift your chin up and you'll feel that stretch shift more to the front of your neck. Do you feel that there, Harvey?
Yeah, it feels great.
Yeah. And so I never want you to pull on your head and neck. That can strain some of the joints there. But overall, that's just going to create some opening through these muscles. We're just used to holding a lot of tension through here. And even stress, cortisol is released. That starts to tighten the muscles. So if we can start to combat that just by opening them up, you can do these as often as you want. You can do them every hour if you want. You absolutely don't have to. I recommend do it once or twice a day. But if you're working at your computer all day, schedule them in and do that way. Speaking of which, let's see. I'm frozen here. Let me see. There we go. This is one of my other favorite random brain facts, which is if your vision is focused on a really small object. So if you're focused on your computer in front of you, if you're focused on even the car in front of you when you're driving, we're focused on an object, and that puts our brains into a more sympathetic state, which is kind of this fight or flight. So you hear about fight or flight sympathetics, which is you're tight, you're ready to go fight a bear that's coming at you. It's a good response, but it's not one that we want to keep. Versus the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. So if you can actually look out onto a horizon, so step outside, look at the mountains, look out at LA, wherever you're looking. If you don't have somewhere to look, imagine it, right? Close your eyes and actually imagine a beach, imagine the mountains. It actually will start to bring you into the parasympathetic state just from your vision. So that's something you can do. Take a couple seconds to do it. It just automatically shifts that gear. And this is Dr. Andrew Huberman from Stanford, actually, is a neuroscientist, and he's done a bunch of research on this stuff, which is really cool, just an almost immediate way to change your state. So this is one of my favorite just brain tips to help keep you sane and healthy. And on top of that, then you just want to make sure you're staying active, going outside, all of those things. Obviously get your setup appropriate, but if we can keep you active, if we can keep you outside, you're going to do really, really well with staying healthy. So those are my biggest brain tips, and brain tips, ergonomic tips. Overall, those should keep you really well and keep you healthy if you're already in a good place.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good
You're
job
welcome.
being prepared with that slide presentation. That's fantastic.
Of course. It helps when you just did a webinar on it, right? I was like,
So I have some follow-up comments and questions. That was all such great stuff, and I took notes. I love what you said about listening to your body. If your neck feels cramped, duh.
yeah.
There's probably something wrong, right?
Hey, our brains work pretty well.
Yeah, and it's funny because we use the same thing. I mean, I have so many aha moments in nutrition coaching with people who are like, you mean it's okay? You mean that digestive problem is actually just because my body's not happy? It's like, yeah, you're not supposed to feel it all the time.
Right.
But just listen, yeah, that food, regardless of what the allergy panel said, if that food is bothering you, maybe stop eating it.
Don't eat it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one I loved was, not sitting in cramped positions. I have this loft up here that we're in now, where I have this desk that before COVID-19, I never came up here and used it. I was so bad about working in bed. And I would take my laptop and all my work to bed with me, and to work until it was time to go to sleep. I'm terrible, right? Terrible. Bad health coach. Right?
But a real one.
Since I set everything up here and I come up here now, I feel so much better. And it's really amazing how much different you feel when you don't, do stuff like that. And then last, the fight or flight thing, that I think that's been coming up so many times in interviews with people right now. And that is really what's happening to a lot of people in this crisis, is that their autonomic nervous system is a little bit out of whack. Their hormones are out of whack.
Right.
And they don't really know what's happening, except for that they just know they're freaked out. And then if you're homeschooling your kids and you're working, to be able to stop and do a few of these exercises is going to be so valuable for people. So super awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing these valuable tips with us. I think everyone's going to love these. So with that, how can people find you now when they want to get to know you better? Find out about doing some brain training at home and all that other cool stuff. How can people reach you out there in the blogosphere and everything else?
World? Yes. Yeah. 2 ways. So first of all, we do have a weekly email that goes out. We call it 3 to Thrive, and that's some brain-based tips. And so we can add that to the show notes. And so you can just sign up for that email series. And then we can shoot you that email. It comes out every Monday. We never spam you. Hopefully it's all things that are actually helpful to you. And secondly, we are doing the e-consultations. And so you can email us at patientcare@vitalheadandspine.com. It's a long email address, so Harvey can add that to the show notes as well. But what we can do is we usually do a consultation, 20 minutes or so, $150. But Harvey, for your clients, we had talked about it. We're like, hey, let's do a deal. Let's get these people well. So $50, 20 minutes. Let's see what your pain is. Let's see what your problem is. And we will point you in the right direction, whether it's through our brain training, whether it's through our specialized NUCA care, whether it's someone completely different, we'll point you in the right direction for that. So you can just shoot us an email and make sure that you mention Harvey's show, and then we can connect with you that way.
Fantastic. We always love anytime we get a chance to put an offer on these episodes. So thank you for that, Julia. And thanks to also Giancarlo and everyone else on your team over there. I always love coming by to visit you guys. And I just want to thank you for coming on today. And before we hang up here, I just wanted one last closing question. If you had to give everybody out there one useful tip to help them feel a little more empowered and useful and awesome in this time when it's really been challenging for everybody, what one tip or word of wisdom would you give everyone?
The one tip I would give is honestly give yourself grace. I think that we're all in this season of really trying to do, make sure that what project do I have for this weekend? What am I doing with my kids homeschooling while I'm working, like you mentioned? And we're in this state where none of us have ever lived through a pandemic before, right? Like we've never done this. This is unprecedented times.
Unless you're over 100 years old, right?
True. A few of us have done it before. But overall, I mean, we're just in this place where I think a lot of us really try to strive in order to succeed. And sometimes succeeding really, I mean, it's taking care of yourself and staying well. And so do that, give yourself grace, and your body will recover well.
Yeah. I am so down with that advice, and that's so helpful, even when we're not in a pandemic, I think.
Right. Very true.
All right. Very good, Julia. Thank you so much, Dr. Radwanski, for coming on and being with us today. We do appreciate your time. And
you're welcome. It was great chatting with you, Harvey.
Yeah, that was fun. So take it easy, everyone, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Yeah.
Later.
Bye.